Namaskar. My very warm greetings to you all from Dublin, Ireland. At the outset, I would like to applaud Amity University, Haryana, and its Vice Chancellor, Honorable Professor B.P. Sharma ji, and the team of Professor Sanjay Jha ji for organizing this conference on the relevance of Indian knowledge systems in the 21st century. The timing of this event is very special, very opportune for us because India is celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the occasion to deeply introspect and honestly learn lessons from the past and make a strategy for all-round national development in the next 25 years, the Amrit Kal. And in this context, our Honorable Prime Minister has given us a national call, a vision of Panch Pran to make India a nation which is free from colonial mindset and proud of its own heritage. Often, people of India born after independence don't fully appreciate the significance of our heroic freedom struggle and the importance of India's vibrant democracy in the world. In the entire history of mankind, there is no precedence of 1.38, 1.4 billion people self governing themselves in a democratic framework. Why has democracy in India thrived while it has suffered regular setbacks in many other democracies which got independence around the same time as India did? Also, in human history, we have seen so many civilizations in other parts of the world which have been wiped out and they got superimposed by other religions, other cultures. For example, Buddhism and Islam and Christianity, they have swept countries in other parts of the world. But India retains unbroken link between the most ancient and the most modern. कुछ बात है कि हस्ती मिटती नहीं हमारी. The secret of India's resilience, India's Amritatva, the Jijivisha, lies in the universality and timelessness of India's knowledge tradition, India's heritage of knowledge and wisdom, especially in the intangible heritage of India in the domain of ideas, of philosophy, and spirituality. And India's ancient wisdom and ancient heritage is important today, not per se because it is very ancient. Puran mityeva na sadhu sarvam, na chapi kavyam navamatyavadyam. Just because something is ancient does not make it valuable. Our ancient heritage is valuable precisely because it is very contemporary, very modern in its outlook, because it sustains and nourishes all the elements which constitute our identity, our defining features as a nation. Ancient Indian wisdom, our knowledge heritage, regards knowledge as indivisible, single, unified, integrated entity like Parabrahma, like life itself. So Indian tradition does not treat education in a very segmented manner or compartmentalized manner, but in Indian tradition, the quest of knowledge has inherently holistic, inclusive attitude. In the West, the consciousness about the fragility of the ecosystem and concern for environment and climate change is quite recent. But the Indian rishis always spoke of nature with reverence and deep sense of oneness with nature, without any desire to exploit or dominate nature. See the vision of harmony with the nature that our rishis pronounced. Madhuvatarитayate madhuksharanti sindhava madhviranah santu oshadhih madhu nakta mutoshaso madhumat parthivam rajah madhudyau rastanah pita. Similarly, the issue of secularism. Today, when the world is facing the menace of religious intolerance, extremism, and tension justified in the name of religion because of the notions of one's faith supremacy over others, the ancient Indian wisdom reminds us of not only tolerance of other faiths but mutual respect based on the knowledge and conviction of equality of all faiths and all paths. Ruchi nam vaichitriat riju nana pathajusham nirnam eko gamyastomasi payasa marana vaiva. Due to different interests and inclinations, people choose different paths. All of those paths lead to the same ultimate destination. अनंत नाम ध्येयाय सर्वाकार विधायिने समस्त मंत्र वाच्याय विश्वैकपतये नमः. So instead of proclaiming that only one name of the Almighty is appropriate, Indians believed in infinite names and forms of the same single supreme being. So India's approach to plurality of religious faiths is belief in the equality and equal validity of all of them. This is quite different from the Western concept of secularism. Similarly, the issue of gender equality. The gender consciousness came into the Western vocabulary in the early 20th century. The United Nations itself started celebrating International Women's Day in 1975. The traditional Indian wisdom does not believe in Supreme Being, the Almighty, being exclusively masculine, but proclaims the complete gender equality. न त्वं स्त्री न पुमानसि न चैवं नपुंसकः यत यत शरीरम आदत्ते तेन तेन स युज्यते. The Supreme Being is not a feminine, not a masculine, nor the third gender. Whichever form it acquires the same gender. Also, the tradition of democracy. The democracy in India is not just about holding of elections, but it originates from profoundly ingrained philosophical ethos of consciousness and knowledge of inherent equality of all human beings. Aham Brahmasmi Tat Tvamasi. So it is about equality in rights as well as equal opportunities to perform one's duties as individual citizen. Functioning of democracy requires self-discipline and collective commitment to adherence of law of the land. Indian civilization is actually founded on and sustained by the concept of natural law, order, called dharma. Dharayate iti dharma. Dharma is not equivalent to religion of the West, which is primarily about ways of worshipping and practicing rituals. Dharmaya Raja Bhavati, na kama karanaya. Democracy is not pursuit of political or even material power, but commitment to upholding the law for universal well-being and harmony. The continuing corona pandemic has not only stressed and overwhelmed the healthcare systems of the entire world, but is actually exposing the acute limitations of the modern Western approach to healthcare itself. A daunting challenge in the post-corona world is how to cope with the lingering mental and psychological after effects of anxiety, of uncertainty and trauma following the cure of bodily physical symptoms of corona. This cannot be remedied by perpetual administration of allopathic medicines. There is therefore need for tapping into wiser and more sustainable traditional healthcare knowledge that fortunately is available in India. Indian sages believed in the view of human body as a complex matrix of interconnected systems. So they adopted a holistic approach to health, which meant not just absence of disease or illness, but complete harmony with the body, mind, soul, and senses through an integrated and holistic regime, practice of Ashtanga Yoga, appropriate diet, ahar, life routine, dincharya, and suitable natural medication, rasayan, and cleansing of the body through panchakarma. There is deep connection between what we think, what we eat, and what we do. So the seeds of our actions, happiness, and suffering is within us, in our mind, and our thoughtful or reckless actions. There is no escape from consequences of our actions. So the Indian message is about individuals' accountability and individuals' responsibility. Essentially, it is a duty-centric approach to rights and collective well-being. So, as we celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav and prepare for Amrit Kal for the next 25 years, let us all discharge our respective duties with the spirit of patriotism and dedication shown by our freedom fighters. For the intellectuals and scholars engaged in the propagation of Indian knowledge heritage and Indian cultural traditions, it is very important for us to detoxify Indian thought, removing European and colonial misrepresentations, and encourage originality to our own scholarship. Secondly, rather than seeking validation from abroad, let us confidently develop indigenous knowledge, India's paradigm of studying and interpreting India, not the Indology tradition which has been created by the European scholars for their vested interests and pursuit of colonial agenda. Third, we have to begin with the domestic application of traditional knowledge. Let us solve our own domestic problems, contemporary challenges using the wealth of knowledge inherited since ancient times. And in this mission, the whole society has to work together with the common goal. Sangachadhvam, samvadadhvam, samvomanansi janatam. There is need indeed for an interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary research and teamwork. I would be very privileged to assist, guide, and support anyone who is interested in pursuing Indian knowledge traditions in India. Thank you so much. I wish this conference a great success. And I wish all the participants and all the people of India a very successful, glorious New Year. Thank you so much.